massive power outages. I mean, I'm talking massive power outages has left 4 European countries in the dark. A large part of Europe was hit by these power cuts today, knocking out traffic lights, halting electric trains, switching off the internet. Power operators say they were investigating what caused these blackouts in Albania, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, and Montenegro. The string of blackouts rippled out of Montenegro. Now, come on now. Montenegro. You know what country I'm talking? Montenegro. You know, I don't do editing. So if I'm live. So the string of blackouts that ripped through Europe after a 400 kilowatt transmission line exploded, according to the national newspapers. Sources said crews from the Montenegrin electric transmission system found that the pylon line was on fire, and across all 4 countries were scenes of traffic jams, cars, logs, traffic accidents, lights went down, metro transit systems stalled, and people began to suffer from excessive heat. And some people suffered a massive amount. There was a major internet outage. And, you know, when you got a war going on in Europe, the last thing you want is to have a power out and people start wondering what's going on. Montenegro's capital said cars were seen erratically crisscrossing through the intersections, and it became a very, very dangerous situation. So Ecuador, the entire nation went down, and now you have 4, maybe 5 nations in Europe where the power went down. So I started looking at it and says, what does this mean? Well, America's electric grid is weakening. America's electric grid is weakening. According to reports, electric sources have become more acute. Brownouts, blackouts have become common. And we look deeper into it because it becomes clear that the nation's power grid has not only become less reliable and the infrastructure is failing, but it's become more fragile. This is because it's especially troubling because it confronts this country just when Washington, D.C. and several states are pushing for more electric cars, an increase in the use of electric appliances. In part, the power problem reflects the increased use of wind and solar sources. So they're trying to depend on windmills and solar panels, which work, but only they're a supplement. They're not the main source. You can't run this world's economy or electrical power grids on these sources. But there can be no dispute that these are less reliable than power from fossil fuels or nuclear power. But this straightforward fact of life is only part of the story because problems in the America's power grid are a lot more complicated. Evidence of failure is filling the headlines, often with considerable drama. And we're right now. They're going to start it. I've already saw where they're 1st of July. They're going to start the rolling blackouts, especially in California and probably Texas, and maybe other states. But back in 2021, there was a cold snap. You guys remember that in Texas? It led to widespread blackouts, and 250 people died. California, for years, on a regular basis, has to do and ask its utility customers to tolerate rolling brownouts and rolling blackouts. Just this past Christmas, matter of fact, unusually cold weather across the country prompted utilities from Massachusetts and New York to the Midwest and to the South, begging their customers to turn down their thermostats and delay the use of appliances. Millions lost power in North Carolina and Tennessee. Down power lines caused some of the more severe problems, but in many cases, power utilities simply have to cut off some customers to avoid worse problems. There was even a study about the prolonged blackouts and scheduled brownouts that are coming since 2013 that are increasing. Matter of fact, the Green New Deal, the Green Lobby people predictably blame this problem on climate change and has created more severe weather. The fossil fuel industry and its allies in Congress blame the problem on the unreliability of wind and solar. No doubt there's truth on both sides because the world is being affected by these crazy weather patterns, and that's because as we've heard, those of you who follow me on Thursday night, those of you who are with me on Thursday night, I go through that first hour or so giving you information that's going on around the world. And if you've followed this channel, you know that forever I have been covering earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons, monsoons, blood moons, baboons, pontoons, just about everything that's going on, and the volcanism that's increased, and the temperature, and the sun and the solar flares, and the hypercanes now, and the polar vortexes, and the atmospheric rivers, and all these new terms because of the extreme weather conditions. Well, I'm going somewhere. Hang with me. The wind does not always blow, and the sun doesn't always shine. And even in the face of the reality, these problems would seem to be something for which engineers could find solutions and investments could implement. But there is a further complication because most of the country uses regional transmission organizations to buy and sell their power. I know in Indiana, we were told that when they put in all these Obama's windmills, that it was going to cut our price of electricity in Indiana by about 40%. But instead, they put all these huge wind farms up, messing up the flight patterns of birds and creating migraine headaches for humans. But we didn't cut our electric bills down because they sold all the electricity that was coming from the wind farms to New Jersey. And actually, Indiana, then our electric bills went up 25% instead of down 40%. We were lied to again and again and again and again. But it's all part of the Agenda 2021. It's all part of the Agenda 2030. Global sustainability, the 17 laws, the 17 rules, the